Hello, welcome to Animate. I'm going to make a puppet today that I can then animate in a scene that I'm going to create. So I'm on the startup screen of Animate. Because I'm just starting from scratch, I'm just going to click Create New. So I'm going to create new. I got this box. It gives me the options, character animation, full HD, 24 frames a second. That all sounds good. I'm going to click Create. I'm going to save this. So Robot 2 is what I'm going to call it. I go Save. And I'm just going to set my canvas window here to fit to window so it all fits in the screen. Got my tools here, have my timeline here, my properties window, my library window, color picker all here. So what I'm going to do is make a robot character as a puppet so I can move the different parts to make animation with it. So I'm going to start out with the rectangle tool to make the robot head. You can even label this layer robot head. Now I get this little box because I left a blank space here. Animate doesn't like blank spaces in names, but it's going to do is put a little underline there where the blank space was. Okay, so I have the rectangle tool. I have my colors here. I'm just going to choose a fill color that's kind of a gray. Just pick a gray here and leave the stroke color at black. So I got my properties for my tool here, and that's going to be the rectangle tool to draw the robot. I'm going to set the stroke at 10. I have the fill color at gray. The stroke color is black, and I'm going to draw a rectangle here. I'm going to go ahead and turn this into a symbol because I'm going to add more things to it. I'm going to add nose, eyes, mouth, all. And because they'll all be on separate layers, to keep them kind of nice and even, I'm going to make it all in a symbol so I can edit those layers in their own timeline there. So I'm going to select up here, to select both the stroke and the fill, go Modify, Convert to Symbol. I'm going to call this Robot Head. And then to edit that symbol, I need to go into it. I can notice it's in the library. I can double click on it here, and also just double click on it here in the screen. And now I'm editing that robot head. Now what I want to do is I want to give this robot head a 3/4 profile. So I'm going to use the selection tool, and I'm going to go to one of these vertex points of it and just kind of drag this one up and then this one down to give my head kind of a sense of depth. I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to, I'll call that first layer face. So that's just the basic face shape. This will be the nose. Now when I draw a new thing, what I like to do often is just draw it somewhere out here, and then I'll move it into place. So the nose, I'm going to start with a circle, and I'm going to get the line tool to add a couple lines to it, like that. And I'm going to use the paint bucket, the fill tool, and that should fill in this space here with the fill color. Now if you're using the paint bucket tool and things don't fill in, you might want to check out here. These are some tool options. And this one, if there's a little gap, you might want to try these close larger gaps or close medium gaps and see if it'll fill with that. So now I'm just going to select the whole nose layer, just clicking it. Notice it's all selected. It has those little dots to tell you it's selected. Get the selection tool. I'm just going to drag it in place on my robot head. I'm going to add another layer, call this one Eyes. And I'm going to use the circle tool to make first one eye. I'm going to make the fill color kind of a yellow with this. And I'm just going to draw it once again kind of out here a little bit. One eye is going to be a little bit smaller. I'm going to select that whole eye. I'm going to go Command C or Control C. I have a PC, so it's Control C. On a Mac, it's Command C. And then Control V, which is going to copy that. I'm going to get them with my selection tool, get them a little closer. Then I'm going to use this tool here called the Free Transform tool to make that second eye just a little bit bigger because it's going to be a little bit closer to us. So when I select my layer, I select both the eyes. I'm going to get my selection tool and then drag them in place on my robot head. I'm going to maybe put the nose a layer above the eyes just by clicking and dragging it, because maybe there's a little bit of overlap with the nose on that one eye. I want to make sure that the eyes look like they're behind, the nose looks like it's in front. I'm going to turn my eyes into a symbol just by clicking on it, selecting the whole thing here, both fill and stroke. Go modify, convert to symbol, call them eyes. I'm going to double click them to edit that symbol, because I'm going to add a pupil to these eyes. I'm going to do that with the oval tool and do a black stroke and a black fill, just like that. Just going to go ahead and draw them directly in there. Maybe this one's a little bit bigger. And I'm just going to call them pupils. And so notice now, if I want to animate my robot looking in different directions, I can just move those pupils around to do that. Of course, right now there's just one keyframe. Later I'll go ahead and add some keyframes to my eyes to make them blink and do things. I'll go back to my robot head. Just going to make one more layer, call it mouth. Going to just use the line tool to do that, because this is just the closed mouth, just a little mouth there. And I'll just go ahead and make it into a symbol too. So it's modify, convert to symbol, mouth. So notice when you make things into symbols, they're here in the library. You can use them, reuse them, and they have their own timeline, so you can do editing to them, animation to them, independently of the rest of your animation. I'm going to go back to my scene, see all that in the robot head symbol. There's just one line now here. I'm going to make a new layer. This will be my robot body. So it's going to give me this because I didn't leave in that, I left in the space. So I'm going to use the rectangle tool. For the fill color, I'm just going to borrow the gray. If I just move this out here, it becomes an eyedropper. I'm going to click that gray to find it. And now I'm going to draw the robot body. It's going to be like two rectangles, like this one, and then this one's going to be the neck, kind of like that. But I drew them together, so they're just, when I click up here, I get it all. And I'm just going to get the selection tool and drag that over so it's underneath. I'm going to put the robot body underneath the head, so there's some kind of overlap there. At the body, I'm going to make a new layer, call this robot arm. Okay, once again, it's going to put in that little thing. I'm going to draw a couple rectangles for that. And on one, I'm going to put a little square, because that's the hand. I'm just going to get my selection tool. Going to select this one here and get my free transform to rotate it a little bit. And then I'm going to just drag this over here so I kind of have like an elbow in my arm like that. It's all on one layer. I'm just going to make that into a symbol, going modify, convert to symbol, we'll call it arm. Okay. Now when I have the free transform tool selected, notice that there's a little circle here. That's my rotation point. I'm going to drag that up to basically the shoulder point of my elbow. I'm going to put that here. And so that's the robot arm. It's the one, maybe I'll even put it underneath the body because it's kind of the one further away. And I'm just going to even call that, going to double click here, robot arm, and it's going to be left. So I'll just put L at the end. Now I have the arm. Notice I have it in my library. So if I make another layer, it's going to make that layer above the body. Call it robot arm right. The R for right. And I drag my arm here. I have my second arm. I'm going to put the rotation point right here. Now my arm is kind of facing the wrong way. If I go modify, down to transform, and then flip on the horizontal, it's going to flip it so it's going to be the right way that I want my arm to be. So that rotation point is going to allow me to, if I go to one of these corners here, maybe I'll do this arm so you can see it better. I can rotate it up, rotate it down, And remember that flip horizontal, I can flip it around too if I need to for different things. Just going to go to my head layer with this rotation point, and now I can rotate my head to nod it back and forth. And I'm not doing any animation yet. Everything is just one frame long, but now I'm all set up to do some animation with it, which I'll do in the next video. So notice that I can set that rotation point where I want it because these items are symbols. My body I didn't turn into a symbol. It won't let me do that. If I do want to move the body, I'm going to want to turn it into a symbol. Okay? So I got my robot. See you in the next video.